Welcome back. Today, we're moving from global control to surgical precision. I'm going to show you how to customize each menu item independently, creating completely different experiences for each of your categories. I have to confess, when I first encountered this level of customization, it felt like staring into a very long, dark and deep rabbit hole that went on forever. And then I had my eureka moment. Once you understand the logic, this prosaic system becomes incredibly powerful. By the end of this video, you should have a complete roadmap of why different menu item types unlock different option sets, how to navigate the dual Joomla Astroid tab system without getting lost, where you can customize categories independently whilst maintaining consistency, and of course the systematic approach that makes this chaos actually very manageable. Are you ready to understand how all of these pieces connect? If so, stay tuned. Here's something mission critical that many tutorials take for granted, but you absolutely must realize that, as obvious as it might sound, different menu item types completely change your available options. Let me demonstrate what I mean. We're going to navigate to Menus, Main Menu, and we see we have some menus set up from previous episodes. Last time around, we essentially set up two types of menus. We set up a menu item separator that was basically related to my preference for organizing things, boxes inside boxes and all that kind of stuff. Notice for this separator menu item, we've got a total of 7 tabs. Now, here's our first aha moment, and this is where most people get completely lost. Anything without a colored dot in front of its title is pure core Joomla functionality. Anything with a colored dot is because of the Astroid framework being installed. Staying on track here, we have 7 tabs for the separator menu item. Now let's close this window and navigate to the chess menu item. And here is where your mind could slowly start melting. Notice the first thing. We've got way more tabs now. We've got 14. And of course, we have the Joomla tabs without the little colored dots. And we've got the Astroid tabs with the little colored dots in front of them. This is the game changer that nobody really explains properly. We're seeing 2 separate forces at work here simultaneously. First, the menu item type itself, category, blog versus separator. And these are unlocking completely different sets of Joomla options. And of course, second, we're seeing Astroid is layering on its own additional tabs. And those Astroid additions also change based on what type of menu item you're working with. Think of it like this. Joomla gives you the base ingredients depending on what you're cooking. So for example, separator versus category blog. But Astroid is like having a spice rack that gets bigger or smaller depending on what dish you're making. The herbs and spices available change based on the recipe you've chosen. Depending on what exactly the menu item is, we may have more or less tabs available. So for example, the category blog menu items unlock a whole arsenal of customization options that simply aren't available for separator items. This is your first glimpse into why menu level customization is so powerful. Different menu types give you completely different toolsets to work with. And when you add Astroid into the mix, those toolsets get even more sophisticated and context aware. Now let's navigate briefly to our 2 other menu items with category blog listings, Mahjong and Monopoly. And we see that we get the same pattern with respect to the number of tabs. We have 14 tabs across the board. Meaning we are looking at a consistent pattern here across all category blog menu items. Now here's something I really want to emphasize because this confused me for months when I first started working with Astroid. I touched on this previously when I mentioned that anything with a colored dot is because of the Astroid framework being installed. With Astroid installed, there are two types of tabs relating to blog formatting. We have the blog layouts tab, which is pure Joomla and it has no little colored dot in front of it. And we have the blog options tab with a little orange dot in front of it, and this is of course pure Astroid functionality. Now, this is the main takeaway here. These aren't competing systems. They're complementary partners. Think of it this way. Joomla's blog layout tab controls the structural decisions, how many leading articles, how many columns, what order to display things in, whilst Astroid's blog options tab takes these exact same articles and transforms how they look and behave. Astroid can make those same articles display with, for example, overlay hover effects, or some zigzag image positioning, or gradient backgrounds. So you're going to be using the same structural foundation, but with a completely different visual personality. These tabs connect directly to the global settings from our previous episode. The blog layouts tab contains settings we can override from Joomla's global article component settings, whilst the blog options, of course, are from the Astroid's back end, and they are our visual enhancement toolkit, if you will. But both can be customized on a menu by menu basis. Now here's the key insight. We can influence what we see and how articles are formatted on a category by category basis, working with both Joomla's structural controls and Astroid's visual magic, which can be found, of course, in the Astroid backend in the articles and blog section. Since we're currently in the chess menu item, anything we configure here controls specifically the chess category and its content. In our upcoming episodes, I'll show you exactly how this partnership creates stunning results. I think it's fascinating how combining these two elements, the Joomla core element and the Astroid article layout element, can really help up your Joomla game. We have additional customization options in the Astroid menu options tab. We see them here in our chess menu item. And of course, if we switch to, for example, the Mahjong menu item, same story. We've got a tab called Astroid menu options. And in here, we can add bells and whistles to individual menu items. We could turn a menu item into a mega menu, but we're not going to do that here today. And of course, we have options down here for icons, subtitles, and select badges. There's some really nice, basic, but useful functionality in here. And let's not forget, combined with some of the functionality we have seen and will see, all of these pieces of the puzzle really add up. Thanks to our well-stocked kitchen, we can really start mixing and matching these features in very unique ways to build distinctly different menu category setups. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This whole system is scattered across multiple locations. And it's a little bit like a kitchen where you've got to reach up to the top shelf for one ingredient, then dig into that little drawer underneath the cabinet for another tool, and you will find yourself jumping between Joomla's global settings, Astroid's template options, and individual menu configurations. But once you get the hang of navigating this approach, it becomes incredibly powerful for creating exactly the kind of customized setups you and your clients are looking for. Obviously, we have the same pattern across all of our categories, whether that's chess, mahjong, or Monopoly. We've got the same tab setup available, and the beauty is we can change these independently from each other on a category by category basis. You could have completely different blog layouts, different blog options, and different Astroid menu enhancements for each category on a menu by menu basis. Now, this is where things get insanely powerful. And it's something that many Joomla users don't even realize is possible. You can use different templates on different pages. Let me show you what I mean. Going back to our separator menu item and making sure that we're in the Details tab, we have a template style option. And we currently have our Astroid template installed as our default template, but we could switch this out if we had additional templates or template styles installed, whether that's the default Cassiopeia template or indeed multiple Astroid templates or any other Joomla template you've got running on your site. So for example, we could actually have a completely different template for chess, a different one for Mahjong, and yet another one for Monopoly, and switch out the templates on a menu item by menu item basis. This can get very, very powerful for creating distinct experiences. Now here's the thing about Astroid templates. Because they are so configurable, it's really easy to duplicate and modify them. You could have multiple versions of your Astroid template, each set up for different purposes, then switch between them using this template style drop-down menu. This, of course, is yet another example of how flexible the Astroid framework can be. Now, of course, these days, going into the end of 2025, we have a new feature in Astroid, and it's called Astroid multi-layouts. Now, to be perfectly frank, I haven't actually really had time to look at this yet. As far as I can tell, it works within a single Astroid template, and you would create different layouts without needing separate installed templates. So you get one template, but with multiple design options. Now, whether you use these alongside the template switching we're looking at here, or mix and match them together, I'm not really sure yet. But my guess is that you could probably use both approaches together for maximum flexibility. But we'll definitely cover that in a future episode. Just be aware that once you start assigning different templates or layouts in whatever form to different menu items, you can bring in a whole lot of extra powerful functionality. It's like falling down a rabbit hole. It just goes on forever and can feel completely overwhelming when you first encounter it. But that's the nature of truly flexible systems. They give you incredible control once you understand how to navigate them. So let's tie all of this up together. What we've discovered today is that we have multiple layers of control. Layer 1, global Joomla settings, our foundation from the previous episode. Layer 2, global Astroid settings, our enhanced baseline. Layer 3, menu-specific Joomla overrides, surgical precision for structure. Layer 4, menu-specific Astroid enhancements, visual personality, and advanced features. Layer 5, template level variations, completely different experiences if and when required. I believe that my systematic approach makes sense, and here's why I'm so passionate about teaching it this way. Coming from years of dealing with crusty, cobbled together websites that were held together with digital duct tape, Astroid had intrigued me for a while. But here's the thing. The first video I saw online that really got me hooked on Astroid demonstrated many of these exact features we're covering here in our categories series. The problem? It assumed that all of this foundational knowledge was just common knowledge. I knew absolutely nothing about this layered approach. This is when I returned to the drawing board. And that's exactly why I created this tutorial series. I needed to understand the why behind the system before I could master the how. This methodical approach, building from the foundation up, establishing solid global baselines, then customizing selectively where we need unique behaviors, is not just organization for organization's sake. It's the difference between having control and just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I hope that this mapping exercise has demystified the menu level customization options in Joomla and Astroid. I know it can feel scattered and overwhelming at first. Believe me, I've been there. But once you understand that it's really about layers of control building on each other, this whole system becomes incredibly logical and powerful. Coming up in part 5, we're rolling up our sleeves to actually customize our chess, mahjong and monopoly categories. I'll walk you through my decision-making process, when to use global settings versus when to break out these surgical customization tools. If this systematic approach is helping you, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. Your support helps me keep creating these honest, methodical tutorials.